A poor girl helps a millionaire fix his car until she sees the ring on his finger. Louis never imagined that a forgotten street in Fredericksburg would become the stage for the strangest day of his life. The engine of his BMW had just died. No warning, no signs, right in the middle of a hot, sticky afternoon. He stepped out of the car, frustrated, sweat soaking the back of his designer shirt and dust covering his expensive shoes. That's when Anna appeared. Small, skinny, her hair tied back in a messy bun, hands stained with grease. A street girl, with the wary eyes of someone who's seen too much for her age. She carried a wrench almost as big as her arm and, without asking permission, shoved her head under the hood. Louise stood there, caught between annoyance and confusion. Who was she? How the hell did she know so much about engines? While Anna worked on the car, the strap of her worn-out backpack slipped off her shoulder. That's when Louise saw it. A ring. Thin, gold, with a dark blue stone in the center. Exactly like the one Diana, his ex-girlfriend who vanished years ago, wore every single day. His heart skipped a beat. His hands went cold. For a second, the whole world seemed to slow down. Louise couldn't take his eyes off that ring. Where did you get that? His voice came out harsher than he intended. Anna froze. Her expression shifted instantly. From brave and focused, she turned into a mix of fear and defense. It belonged to my mom, she whispered. Louise felt his stomach twist. Memories hit him like a punch. Diana, her sudden disappearance, and now, years later, a street girl wearing her ring. The silence between them turned into a battlefield. Anna finished fixing the car without making eye contact. Louise's mind raced, spinning with questions. Who was this girl? How did she have that ring? And why? Why did her face seem strangely familiar? As he turned the key and the engine roared back to life, Louise knew one thing for sure. He couldn't just drive away. Something about this moment screamed for answers, and he wasn't going to stop until he found them. Hey, before we dive back into this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. A lot of subscribers have been reporting that YouTube has unsubscribed them without any warning. Take a quick second to check the red button down below and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss out on any of the exclusive content coming your way. And since you're here, go ahead and smash that like button. It helps me a ton with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, from which city are you watching this video? I love getting to know every incredible person who's part of this community. Your support makes all the difference. Let's interact. Louis sat in the car, gripping the steering wheel, but his mind was far from the road. The engine purred like new, but inside everything felt broken. Through the rearview mirror, he watched Anna walking away, kicking loose gravel with every step. That ring, that voice, even the way she held her chin when she got nervous. It all screamed one thing. This wasn't over. On impulse, Louise opened the door and called out, louder than he intended, "Wait!" Anna froze mid-step. Slowly she turned around, arms crossed tight across her chest like armor. "Look, I shouldn't have yelled," Louise said, walking toward her. "But that ring, it means something. Can we just talk for a second?" Anna looked down at the ground, scuffing her sneaker against the pavement. "I already said it was my mom's." Her voice cracked on the word mom, and Louise caught it. That tiny fracture, that slip. "Your mom, what was her name?" he asked, holding his breath. There was a long pause. Long enough for Louise to feel his pulse pounding in his neck. "Diana," she finally whispered. Louise felt like the air had been knocked out of his lungs. His knees almost gave out. "Diana." The name hit him harder than any punch. He crouched down to Anna's eye level. "Anna, listen to me. Diana was my—" Before he could finish, the screech of tires tore through the air. A dark SUV rounded the corner at full speed, slamming the brakes just feet away from them. The door flew open and a woman in her mid-30s jumped out. Sharp suit, dark sunglasses, hair tied back in a severe bun. Lydia. Louise recognized her instantly. Diana's sister. Her face was tight, voice dripping with fake concern. "Anna, there you are. I've been looking everywhere for you." She grabbed Anna's arm with way too much force for someone pretending to care. Anna flinched. Her eyes darted between Lydia and Louise, full of confusion and fear. What the hell is going on? Louise stepped forward, instincts kicking in. Why is she scared of you? Lydia's smile froze. Excuse me? This is none of your business. Anna, get in the car. No. Anna yanked her arm free, stepping back. Louise's heart raced. Every warning bell inside him went off at once. This wasn't just a lost kid. This wasn't coincidence. Lydia narrowed her eyes at him. I suggest you walk away, Louise, for your own good. Then, without waiting, she lunged for Anna again. But this time Anna ran, fast, disappearing down the street like her life depended on it. And Louise? Louise didn't think. He just ran after her. Louise's breath burned in his chest as he sprinted after Anna. Gravel crunched under his shoes, his heart pounding louder than his footsteps. Anna turned sharp corners like she'd done this 1,000 times before, dodging trash cans, squeezing through fences. Louise pushed himself harder, ignoring the pain in his side. He couldn't let her disappear too. She darted into an alley behind an old laundromat, slipping through a broken gate. Louise followed, nearly tripping over a loose brick. When he finally caught sight of her again, Anna was crouched behind a dumpster, hugging her knees, face buried between her arms, shaking like a leaf. Louise stopped, took a breath, then crouched a few feet away, giving her space. Anna, I'm not here to hurt you, he said, voice low, almost a whisper. But I need to understand. What's going on? For a second she didn't move. Then she lifted her head, eyes red, face streaked with dirt and tears. Her lip trembled. I don't know who to trust, she said. Everybody lies. Lydia lies. The people at the shelter lie. Even the social worker. Her voice cracked again. Louise felt something twist inside him. That helpless, angry feeling of seeing someone so young, so broken. I'm not like them, he said, swallowing hard. I knew your mom. Diana. She meant a lot to me. Anna's eyes widened. You knew her? The words came out like she didn't believe it, like it was impossible. Louise nodded. Yeah, more than you can imagine. The air between them got heavy. Louise wanted to say more, but before he could, a loud crash echoed from the street. Someone had kicked the metal gate open. Anna, I swear to God, if you don't come out right now. Lydia, her voice sliced through the air like a blade. Anna's whole body stiffened. Without thinking, she grabbed Louise's arm. Her small fingers dug into his skin. Please, don't let her take me, she whispered, voice shaking. Louise stood up, stepping in front of her just as Lydia stormed into the alley. Her heels clacked hard against the pavement. Her sunglasses were off now, revealing eyes full of rage and something else. Fear? Panic? You don't know what you're getting into, Louise, Lydia said through gritted teeth. Walk away. Louise's jaw tightened. I'm done walking away. Lydia took a step forward, eyes locked on Anna. You think you're the hero here? You have no idea what she is, what she's done. The words hung in the air, heavy, loaded. Anna's breathing got shallow. Her grip on Louise's arm loosened. Her face turned pale. What does that mean? Louise asked, heart racing. Lydia's lips curled into a cold smile. Ask her. Let's see if she tells you about the night Diana died. Silence, long, crushing. Anna's eyes filled with fresh tears. She took one shaky step back, and without another word, she ran again. Louise barely thought. His legs moved on their own, chasing Anna down the cracked sidewalk, dodging pedestrians who turned to stare at the chaos unfolding. Some people shouted, others just pulled out their phones. Typical. Anna cut through a narrow space between two buildings, disappearing into the back lot of an old auto repair shop. Louise pushed through the same gap, his shoulder scraping hard against the brick wall. When he caught sight of her again, she was sitting on the ground behind a stack of tires, gasping for air, hands shaking uncontrollably. He slowed down, careful not to scare her off again. Anna, please. I'm not leaving until you tell me what's going on. She wiped her face with the back of her hand, smearing dirt across her cheek. Her breathing was fast, almost panicked. Louise sat on the ground a few feet away. The smell of oil and burnt rubber filled the air. The sun was setting, throwing long shadows over both of them. Finally, Anna spoke, but her voice was barely more than a whisper. I was there. The night my mom died. Louis froze. Every muscle in his body went tight. The noise from the street seemed to fade. All he could hear was her voice. She told me to hide. Anna continued, her gaze fixed on the ground. Said if anything happened, I should never tell anyone, especially not Lydia. Louise's throat tightened. What happened that night? Anna swallowed hard. Her lip trembled. There was a fight, yelling, glass breaking. I heard Lydia screaming at her, and then she closed her eyes like she was trying to erase the memory. I heard a bang. A chill ran down Louise's spine. A bang? Anna nodded slowly, tears spilling down her face. Louise sat there in shock. For years, everyone said Diana just left, vanished. No explanation, no body, no goodbye. Now this. Before he could process more, a loud voice cut through the air. Both of you, hands where I can see them. Louise turned fast. 2 police officers stood at the entrance of the lot, hands hovering near their holsters. A neighbor must have called them after seeing Anna run. Anna froze. Pure terror spread across her face. Her breathing quickened again. It's okay, Louis said quickly, raising his hands. We're not doing anything wrong. But Anna didn't wait. In one sudden move, she bolted again, this time scaling the fence at the back of the lot like she'd done it 100 times before. Anna, stop, Louise yelled, but she was gone. The officers ran past him, chasing after her. Louis stood there, heart pounding, dust swirling at his feet, mind racing with one single terrifying question. If Anna was telling the truth, what else had Lydia been hiding all these years? Louis didn't waste a second. He bolted after Anna again, ignoring the shouts from the officers behind him. His legs burned, lungs screaming for air, but none of that mattered. All he could see was Anna, running like she was running for her life. She disappeared behind a row of parked cars, then slipped through the back entrance of an abandoned warehouse near the train tracks. Louise followed, heart pounding so hard it hurt. The air inside was thick with dust and the smell of rusted metal. Faint light streamed through broken windows, throwing sharp lines across the concrete floor. Anna, he called out, voice echoing through the empty space. No answer. Just the distant hum of a passing train and the occasional creak of old beams shifting. Louise stepped further inside, eyes scanning every shadow, every corner. Then he heard it. Soft sobs coming from behind a stack of wooden pallets near the far wall. He approached slowly, careful with each step. When he finally found her, Anna sat curled up, hugging her knees, her face buried in her arms. Her whole body trembled. Louise knelt beside her, not too close, but close enough for her to hear him. Anna, you're safe now. I promise. No one's gonna hurt you. She lifted her head just enough for him to see her tear-streaked face. You don't get it. If they take me back, I won't make it there. Her voice cracked on the last word. Louise swallowed hard. I'm not letting that happen. For a long second, she just stared at him, like she was trying to figure out if he meant it. Then she said something that knocked the air right out of his chest. There's more, she whispered. About that night. I didn't just hear the bang. I saw what happened after. Louise's heart stopped. Anna looked down at her hands, like she was seeing blood that wasn't there. I saw Lydia, dragging something, wrapping it in plastic. She told me if I ever said a word, she'd make me disappear too. Louise felt a cold sweat on the back of his neck. His mind raced, playing back every memory of Lydia, every lie she'd told after Diana vanished. Before he could say anything, the distant sound of police radios crackled outside. Flashlight beams swept across the warehouse windows. Anna's eyes widened in panic. They're here. Louise grabbed her hand. We'll figure this out. I promise." But before they could move, something unexpected happened. A loud metallic bang came from the far side of the warehouse. Too loud, too sudden. Both froze. Louise turned toward the noise, heart pounding. In the shadows, a figure moved. Someone else was already inside, watching them. Louise stood frozen, heart pounding in his ears. The figure in the shadows didn't move. The metallic echo from the bang still hung in the air like a bad smell. Anna's grip on his sleeve tightened, her fingers cold and trembling. "Who's there?" Louise called out, voice rough, throat dry. No answer. Then, slow, heavy footsteps, coming closer. A tall man stepped out from behind the metal racks. Rough beard, torn jacket, eyes sunk deep like someone who hadn't slept in days. He didn't look like a cop. Definitely not from Lydia's team. More like someone who lived off the grid. "I've been watching her for weeks," the man said, voice low and scratchy. "Knew this day would come." Louise's stomach twisted. "Who the hell are you?" The man ignored the question. His eyes locked on Anna. "You shouldn't have told him about the night your mom died." Anna's face went pale. Her whole body shrank behind Louise. Without thinking, Louise stepped in front of her, raising his hands like a shield. "Back off. I don't know who you are, but you're not getting near her." The man smirked, a dry, bitter sound coming from his throat. "Relax, rich boy. I'm not here to hurt anyone. But you're playing with fire. Lydia, she's dangerous, more than you think." Louise's heart skipped. "You know her?" "Oh, I know all of them." The man pulled something from his pocket, a folded, crumpled photograph. He tossed it toward Louise's feet. Louise bent down, picked it up. It was a photo. Old, faded. A group of people at some kind of backyard party. Diana was there, smiling. Next to her, Lydia, and standing behind them both, the man now standing in front of him. Louise's head spun. What is this?" "Proof," the man said. "And trust me, you're gonna need it." Before Louise could ask anything else, the man turned and slipped back into the dark corridors of the warehouse, vanishing as fast as he appeared. Louise stood there staring at the photo, hands shaking. Anna's voice broke the silence. "That man, I've seen him before. The night Mom disappeared. He was there." Louise felt a knot tighten in his throat. Before he could answer, the distant sound of police sirens grew louder, closer. Flashlights now scanned the back wall. They were running out of time. Louise stuffed the photo in his jacket, grabbed Anna's hand and whispered, "We need to get out. Now." Without looking back, both ran toward the far exit, not knowing who they were really running from anymore. They burst through the warehouse's back door, stumbling onto an overgrown alley full of broken glass and rusted bike frames. Louise's chest burned. Anna's breathing came in fast, panicked gasps, but she kept running like pure fear was fueling her legs. Louise grabbed her arm just as she slipped on the wet concrete. "Wait, Anna, stop, just for a second." His voice cracked from exhaustion. She struggled, trying to pull free, but he tightened his grip. Not to hurt, just to hold her still. "Listen to me," he said, lowering his voice. "You can't outrun this forever. You need help." Her eyes darted around like a trapped animal. Sirens wailed somewhere in the distance, growing louder by the second. "I don't need help," she whispered, almost like a reflex. "I need to disappear." Louise crouched down, bringing himself level with her shaking frame. "No, you need the truth. And if what you said about Lydia is even half true, you're not safe out here alone." Anna bit her lip hard enough to draw blood. Her hands trembled. For a split second, Louise saw the little girl behind all that toughness, the one who'd spent years surviving in silence. Suddenly her shoulders dropped like she was giving up. Tears streamed down her face. "I can't go back. Not after what I saw. Not after what she did." Louise's throat tightened. He reached into his jacket and pulled out the crumpled photo the stranger had given him. "Look, I don't know who that guy was, but this photo, it proves something. I don't know what yet, but it's something." Anna's eyes flicked to the picture. The moment she saw it, she froze. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Then, barely audible, "That's him." "Who?" Her hands shook as she pointed. "The man from that night. After the bang, I saw him too, talking to Lydia. I thought I imagined it, but that's him." Louise's stomach twisted. Before either could say more, the sharp crack of a police megaphone cut through the air. "This is the Fredericksburg Police Department. Come out with your hands visible." Anna's panic came back like a flood. "They'll take me back to the shelter. Or worse, to her." Louise stood scanning the alley for any exit route. A small drainage tunnel near the fence caught his eye. "We're not done here," he said, stuffing the photo back inside his jacket. "But right now, we run." Anna hesitated for half a second, then nodded, wiping her face with her sleeve. Together they bolted toward the tunnel, slipping inside just as the first beam of a police flashlight swept across the alley where they'd been standing seconds earlier. As they crawled through the narrow, damp tunnel, Anna's voice trembled beside him. "Louise, if I tell you everything, you have to promise me one thing." "What?" he whispered, crawling forward. "Promise me you won't leave me like everyone else did." Louise paused, heart tight in his chest. Before he could answer, footsteps echoed above them. Louise's breath caught in his throat. The footsteps above them got louder, more urgent, like boots stomping over loose gravel and metal debris. Anna's wide eyes locked on his, her face pale, hands still shaking. "Stay low," Louise whispered, pressing a finger to his lips. The tunnel walls felt tighter with every second. The air smelled like wet cement and old rainwater. Anna covered her mouth to muffle her breathing. Louise could feel her panic through the trembling of her body. Suddenly a beam of light cut through a crack in the tunnel ceiling. The shadow of one of the cops passed just inches above them. Louise held his breath. One wrong move, and they'd both be caught. The voices above got clearer. "Nothing in the alley? Check behind the warehouse." "Copy that." The footsteps faded for a moment, replaced by distant radio static. Louise let out a shaky breath. "We need to move. Quiet and fast." Anna nodded, still wiping tears from her cheeks with the sleeve of her jacket. They crawled forward, knees scraping against the wet ground. After what felt like forever, they reached a rusted grate at the end of the tunnel. Louise pushed against it, but it didn't budge. Anna moved beside him without a word, pulled a small screwdriver from her backpack, and started working the screws loose with hands that barely stopped shaking. Louise watched her, surprised. Even in the middle of all this, she still had that survival instinct, that stubborn fight. "Where'd you learn to do that?" he asked in a low voice. Anna gave a sad, bitter smile. "When you grow up like I did, you learn." The last screw fell. Together they pushed the grate aside and slipped out into a side street behind an old bakery. The smell of bread hit them hard, fresh, warm, completely out of place after everything they'd just been through. Louise's stomach growled, reminding him he hadn't eaten all day. Anna noticed. Her expression softened for a second. "You hungry?" Louise chuckled, more from stress than anything else. "Starving." They ducked behind a dumpster, catching their breath. The bakery workers inside moved around, laughing, serving customers, totally oblivious to the storm happening just a few feet away outside. Anna's face turned serious again. "Louise, if I tell you the rest, the real stuff, the part I've never said out loud." She hesitated, voice shaking. "You have to promise. You won't think I'm crazy." Louise turned to her, locking eyes. "I don't care how crazy it sounds. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." For a second, she almost believed him. Almost. But before she could say another word, her phone buzzed. Louise froze. She pulled it from her jacket pocket. The screen cracked, battery almost dead, but one notification stood out. One new message, from an unknown number. Just 3 words. "I'm watching you." Anna's hands went cold. Louise leaned over to read. The weight of those words hit them both like a punch to the chest. Neither of them noticed the man in the bakery across the street, standing by the window, staring straight at them. Louise swallowed hard. Anna's phone was still vibrating in her hands, like those 3 words could jump out of the screen at any second. She clutched the phone against her chest, her eyes wide with fear. "Turn it off. Now," Louise whispered. Anna obeyed, trembling, her fingers sliding over the cracked screen until the phone finally powered down. Louise took a deep breath and looked around. The alley seemed quiet, but he knew better. The man in the bakery window, still standing, still staring. Louise locked eyes with him for a few seconds, memorizing his face. Crumpled suit, scruffy beard, dark circles under his eyes like he hadn't slept in days. "Don't look at him," Louise said low, almost under his breath. "Get up, slow, like we're just passing by." Anna bit her lip, nodded. Together, they stepped out from behind the dumpster, walking with fake calm toward the far corner. But just as they reached the sidewalk, Louise felt a heavy hand grab his shoulder. He spun around, ready to fight, but it wasn't who he expected. An older man, maybe in his 60s, stood there wearing a white apron with the bakery's logo stitched on the front. "Son, sorry to butt in, but I saw you two running, saw the girl crying." The man lowered his voice. "If you're running from something, take the back door. Lead straight to another street. No one will see." Louise blinked, caught off guard. Why are you helping us?" The baker gave a sad, knowing smile. "Because I have a daughter, and I've seen that look of fear before." Louise nodded, throat tightening. He grabbed Anna's hand. "Come on." They slipped through the bakery's side entrance. The smell of fresh bread and strong coffee hit them like a punch. For a split second, the world felt normal again. Couples laughed at tables, kids licked frosting off cupcakes, but it all crashed down the moment Louise spotted her. Lydia, standing right there, by the front door, alone. No cops, no bodyguards, just her, with that cold smile. Her eyes locked onto Anna, then Louise. And without breaking eye contact, she pulled out her phone and started typing. Slow, deliberate, like she had all the time in the world. Louise yanked Anna toward the hallway leading to the back, heart racing. "Go, now." They rushed past the kitchen, dodging flour sacks and crates of yeast. The back door stood wide open. The sky outside had turned a dirty shade of orange. City sounds felt muffled, far away. When they hit the back alley, Anna suddenly stopped. "Louise, wait." He spun around. "What?" She took a shaky breath, eyes red but voice stronger than he'd heard before. "If you're gonna stay, if you're really gonna help me, there's something you need to know." Louise froze. "Tell me." Anna swallowed, staring at the cracked pavement like it held the answer. "My mom, before she died, she left a letter. For you." Louise's heart nearly stopped. "What? Where is it?" Anna squeezed her eyes shut like she was scared to even say it. "Hidden, somewhere no one would ever think to look." Before she could finish, the screech of tires cut through the air. Louise turned just in time to see it. A black van, no plates, back doors swinging open. Anna let out a scream, and they ran again. Louise didn't think, just grabbed Anna's wrist and ran, the sound of tires screeching mixed with shouts coming from behind. The van's door slammed shut as it accelerated after them. "Anna, left!" Louise yelled, pulling her down a narrow side street. His lungs burned, legs felt like bricks, but stopping wasn't an option. Not now. They weaved through back alleys, past trash bins and broken fences, the city blurring around them. Anna's sneakers scraped hard on the pavement, almost slipping on loose gravel, but she didn't let go of his hand. Not this time. They reached an old parking garage. Louise shoved open a rusty service door, both of them slipping inside. Darkness swallowed them. Concrete walls, oil stains, echoes of distant footsteps. They ducked behind an old SUV covered in dust. Louise leaned back, chest heaving, trying to catch his breath. "You okay?" Anna nodded fast, too breathless to answer. For a second, just a second, it was quiet. Louise pulled the photo from his jacket again, holding it under the dim emergency light. His hands shook. "That letter you mentioned, where is it, Anna?" Her eyes darted around like she wasn't sure if she should even say. Then, swallowing hard, she whispered, "It's not with me. It's at my mom's old locker. Downtown storage units, Unit 47C. Louise's heart raced faster. "Do you have the key?" Anna hesitated, then reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, rusty key attached to a piece of worn-out string. Louise stared at it like it was gold. Before he could say anything else, Anna grabbed his sleeve. "Louise, I need to tell you something first." Her voice shook, her eyes filled again. Not just fear this time, but something heavier. Guilt. That night, the night my mom died, I wasn't just hiding, she said, her voice barely a whisper. I froze. I saw it happening. I saw Lydia. I could have screamed. I could have done something. But I didn't. Her words hit like a punch. Louise's chest tightened. "Anna, you were a kid. You couldn't have done anything," he said, voice low, steady. "I should have," she said, biting her lip until it turned white. "I still hear it. Every night." For a moment, Louise didn't know what to say. The weight of it all hung between them like thick smoke. His heart ached, not just for Anna, but for Diana too. Without thinking, he pulled Anna into a hug. Tight, protective, like all the pieces of this broken day had led to that single moment. Anna stiffened, then slowly, almost cautiously, let herself lean into him. The quiet only lasted a second. A metallic clang echoed from the stairwell nearby. Voices, footsteps. They froze. Louise grabbed Anna's hand. "We're moving, now." They slipped between cars, weaving toward the back exit. As they pushed the emergency door open, a cold gust of night air hit their faces. But just before stepping out, Anna stopped. Her voice was low. "Louise, if something happens to me before we get to that locker, promise me, you'll read that letter." Louise swallowed hard. Nothing's gonna happen to you. But deep down, he wasn't sure. Behind them, the door they just came through creaked open, and the chase started all over again. Louise tightened his grip on Anna's hand as they bolted out into the cold night air. The city lights flickered in the distance, but everything around them felt blurred, like the world had shrunk to just their footsteps and the pounding in their ears. They cut across the parking lot, jumping over a chain-link fence at the back. Anna stumbled, scraping her knee, but didn't stop. Louise grabbed her by the waist, pulling her up before she could fall again. "Keep moving," he whispered, voice raw. They ducked into an abandoned gas station a few blocks away. Broken glass crunched under their shoes. Anna dropped down behind the counter, hugging her knees, her breathing uneven and shallow. Louise crouched next to her, trying to steady his own breathing. "That van, it wasn't police, right?" Anna shook her head fast. "No, that's them, Lydia's people." Louise slammed his fist against the floor, the frustration finally spilling out. "This is insane." "She's hunting you like an animal." Anna flinched at the sound of his hand hitting the ground, her whole body tensing. Louise caught himself, took a breath, calmed down. "Sorry," he said, softer now. "I didn't mean to scare you." For a second, neither of them spoke. The only noise was the distant rumble of traffic and Anna's shaky breaths. Then, out of nowhere, Anna reached into her backpack and pulled something out. A folded piece of fabric, small, dirty, faded pink with cartoon stars on it. Louise frowned. "What's that?" She unfolded it, revealing a bloodstain in the corner. Old, dried, almost brown now. "It was my mom's scarf. The night she, I grabbed it before I ran." Louise swallowed hard, staring at it. That's from that night?" Anna nodded, wiping her nose with the back of her hand. "I sleep holding it, every night." Louise felt something snap inside him, the kind of protective anger that made your throat close. "You shouldn't have to carry this alone," he said, voice low but steady. Anna gave a small, broken laugh. Too late for that. They sat there in silence for a few minutes, both staring at the scarf like it held all the answers they didn't have. Then, Anna's phone buzzed again. Louise's heart stopped. Anna grabbed it with shaky hands. No new message this time. Just a single photo. Blurry. Taken from a distance. But clear enough to see both of them. Sitting right there, behind the gas station counter. Louise's stomach turned to ice. "They're close," Anna whispered. He didn't wait. Louise grabbed the phone, turned it off, and stuffed it deep inside her backpack. "We're done running in circles," he said, standing up fast. "We're going to that locker. Now." Anna's eyes widened. "What?" "But." "No more but," Louise cut her off, offering his hand. "That letter might be the only thing left that tells the truth." Anna stared at him for a second. Then, slowly, she reached out and took his hand. As they pushed the broken door open and slipped back onto the street, neither of them noticed the black SUV parked just a block away. Inside, Lydia sat behind the wheel, watching, smiling, and dialing another number. Louise pulled Anna into a narrow alley, both of them breathless, hearts pounding like the ground could split open under them at any second. The sound of the van screeching to a stop just a few meters away made Louise glance back fast. Doors slamming, muffled shouting. "Anna, run!" He practically shoved her forward, but Anna froze. Right in the middle of the alley, she just stopped like her legs refused to move. Louise turned, ready to yell at her, until he saw what she was holding in her hands. The keychain. The old rusted key with the locker number, 47C. She stared at it like it was a live grenade about to blow. "Anna, not now!" Louise grabbed her wrist, pulling hard. "We'll deal with that later, but right now we gotta move." Still, Anna didn't budge, didn't cry, didn't scream, just looked at him. And with the softest, most broken voice he'd heard all day, she said, "Louise, there's something inside that locker, something that can take her down. For real." Louise froze. "What?" She bit her lip, took a deep, shaky breath. "There's a recorder in there." "A recorder?" Anna nodded, her whole body trembling. "With audio, from the night she killed my mom." Louise felt the air punch out of his lungs. His throat tightened like someone had wrapped a rope around it. Adrenaline mixed with a sick, burning urge to cry and smash something all at once. Before he could react, a gunshot, loud, echoing through the alley. They both hit the ground, instinct taking over. Anna screamed, but it was pure panic, not pain. "Shit!" Louise pulled her up by the arm. "Run!" They took off again, feet slamming against the pavement, the sound of footsteps chasing them. Getting closer, faster. They turned a sharp corner and ducked into an old, abandoned tire shop. The air reeked of rubber and rust. Louise dragged Anna behind a stack of tires, both of them crouching low. "We need a plan," Louise said, chest heaving. Anna just shook her head, mumbling to herself, almost in a trance. "I should have told you sooner. Should have." Louise grabbed her face, forcing her to look at him. "Hey, this isn't your fault. None of this is. You hear me?" She squeezed her eyes shut, breathing hard, fighting the tears. On the other side of the shop, a door slammed, heavy footsteps. Someone was inside. They didn't speak. They didn't have to. Moving as quietly as they could, they crawled toward a side exit hidden behind an old metal shelf. Louise eased the door open just enough to peek through, and froze. The man from the photo, standing there, alone, holding an envelope. Louise's stomach dropped. Anna stiffened behind him. The man lifted the envelope slowly, like he was handing over some kind of ultimatum. His voice came out low and rough. "She knows you're going to the locker. If you go, there's no turning back." Before Louise could ask anything, the man turned and disappeared into the dark street. Louise stood there, heart in his throat, staring at the envelope shaking in his hand. He looked at Anna. "Do you trust me?" Eyes glassy, voice shaking, Anna barely managed a whisper. "Right now. It's the only thing I have." At that exact moment, Louise's phone buzzed in his pocket. Unknown number. One single line on the screen. The next shot won't be a warning. Louise stared at the phone screen like it was burning a hole through his hand. The message glowed back at him. The next shot won't be a warning. His chest tightened. For a second, he thought about smashing the phone against the wall, but Anna's shaky voice pulled him back to reality. "Louise," she whispered, clutching his sleeve tighter. "We have to go, please." Without wasting another second, Louise shoved the phone deep into his pocket, grabbed the envelope the stranger had left, and pulled Anna to her feet. "We're going straight to that locker. No more running." They slipped out the back door of the tire shop, moving fast through the side streets. The night air hit cold against their sweaty skin. Louise could feel Anna's pulse racing through her wrist as he held her hand tight. As they crossed an empty intersection, Anna suddenly stopped. "Wait, wait," she gasped, bending over, hands on her knees. "I can't. I need a second." Louise turned fast, placing both hands on her shoulders. "Anna, look at me. Breathe. We're almost there. Just a few more blocks." She lifted her eyes to his, red, wet, exhausted, but something else too. Trust. Tiny, fragile, but it was there. Without thinking, Louise pulled her into a hug, tight, protective. Anna's hands hovered mid-air like she didn't know what to do. Then slowly, she hugged him back. For the first time all day, she let herself lean on him. For a few seconds, the world went quiet, like they were both suspended in some invisible bubble, far from vans, threats, and nightmares. But reality crashed back fast. A car horn, close, too close. Louise pulled away, scanning the street. A black sedan rolled past, windows tinted. No plates. "Let's go," he whispered, grabbing her hand again. They ducked into a corner store 2 blocks from the storage units. Louise bought a cheap hoodie and handed it to Anna. "Put this on, cover your hair." Anna slipped it on without arguing. Her small frame seemed to disappear inside it. She pulled the hood low over her face. As they stepped back outside, Louise felt the weight of the envelope still burning in his pocket. Curiosity scratched at him, but this wasn't the place to open it. At the storage facility, the metal gate creaked loud as Anna used the key. The hallway smelled like dust and old cardboard. Unit 47C sat halfway down. Anna's hands shook as she slid the key into the lock. Louise placed a hand over hers, steadying it. "I'm right here," he said, voice low but solid. The lock clicked open. As Anna lifted the metal door, a wave of cold air swept out, carrying with it the smell of forgotten things. There, sitting in a dented shoebox, was an old voice recorder. Next to it, a sealed letter. Yellowed edges, Louise's name written in shaky, familiar handwriting. His heart stopped. Before he could reach for it, Anna gasped. Louise turned just in time to see a dark figure at the far end of the hallway, watching them, silent, still, and just as fast as it appeared. It was gone. Louise's pulse roared in his ears. He grabbed the letter with one hand and Anna's wrist with the other. "We're getting out now." But as they turned to run, Anna's voice cracked, full of fear, but also something new. Determination. "Louise, we're not running anymore. Not after this." Louise took a deep breath, his heart pounding hard in his chest. The cold metal from the 47C storage unit door still vibrated against his hands. Anna was shaking, but for the first time that night, she didn't back away. She just stood there next to him, staring at the box with the recorder and the letter like they were about to blow up. "Grab the recorder," Louise whispered. Anna hesitated for half a second, but then, quick as a snap, she grabbed the device and stuffed it into her backpack. Louise, hands still trembling, picked up the letter. He felt the weight of the paper, the rough texture, his name written there in that shaky, familiar handwriting. "I'll read it later," he mumbled, more to himself than to her. Now wasn't the time. A noise at the end of the hallway made both of them turn at the same time. Footsteps. Fast. Heavy. Louise grabbed Anna's hand, pulling her with him like their lives depended on it. They bolted out of the hallway, taking the stairs 2 at a time. The lights flickered above them like some kind of silent warning. At ground level, they spotted 2 men entering through the front door. Dark clothes, radios clipped to their belts, eyes cold and ready for violence. "Shit," Louise muttered, yanking Anna back. They darted down a side corridor, passing rows of metal doors until they found an emergency exit. Louise shoved it hard. The sound of the lock snapping echoed like a gunshot. Cold air slapped their faces as they ran toward the back of the building. Anna tripped over a loose rock, hit the ground hard on her knees. Louise moved to help, but before he could, she pushed herself up, her eyes burning with something new. Not just fear, anger, determination. "I'm done hiding," she said, voice low and shaking but strong. Louise gave a crooked smile, despite everything. "That's what I like to hear, kid. But first, let's survive this." They dashed across the parking lot. A car horn blasted, barely missing them. Louise pulled Anna back onto the sidewalk just in time. One of the guys from inside spotted them and shouted, pointing. "Anna! That store!" Louise yelled, motioning toward a small corner market with flickering lights. They burst through the glass door, startling an elderly woman picking through apples. The cashier froze mid-swipe at the register. "Bathroom!" Louise shouted, not waiting for permission. Dragging Anna through the back aisle, they found a cracked wooden door. They slipped inside and locked it behind them. Anna slid down the wall to the floor, tears welling up again, breath coming in short, shallow gasps. "Now you're gonna read it," she said, staring at the letter like it was a bomb. Louise sat beside her, ripped open the envelope with shaking fingers. He started reading, but barely got through the first lines before everything froze. The sound of something sliding across the bathroom floor. Both their eyes snapped down, a piece of paper, slipping out from inside the letter. But it wasn't just a letter. It was a photo. Anna, as a baby, in Diana's arms, and in the background, a face Louise recognized instantly. His own. His stomach dropped. Anna looked at him, voice breaking. "What does this mean? Louise?" He opened his mouth to answer, but before he could, the bathroom door handle started to turn. The door handle jerked hard. Louise froze, his heart racing, breath caught in his throat. Anna backed into the corner of the bathroom, eyes wide, like she was bracing for the worst. But the door didn't open. The noise stopped. An eerie silence filled the air, like the whole world was holding its breath with them. Louise stood up slowly, the crumpled paper still shaking in his hands. His eyes scanned the letter again, trying to process. The words blurred, meanings exploding in his head like out-of-control fireworks. "I'm her father," he whispered, more to himself than to Anna. But Anna heard it. And for the first time that night, she didn't flinch. She just stared at him, like she was waiting for an answer she didn't even know she wanted. Before either of them could say another word, Louise's phone buzzed in his pocket. The sound cracked through the silence like a whip. He answered on instinct, not even checking the caller ID. "Hello?" The voice on the other end was cold, sharp, no introduction. "If you open your mouth, Louise, she's next." The line went dead. Louise went numb. Hands trembling, he dropped the phone into the sink. Anna kept staring at him, waiting for an explanation, but he couldn't say a word. Not now. Not with that bitter taste of fear in his mouth. A distant siren snapped them both back to reality. They had to leave. Now. "Come on," Louise said, grabbing Anna's hand. "We have to go before they come back." They rushed out the store's service exit, cutting through a narrow alley, nearly tripping over each other. The night air hit their faces like a cold slap. For a few minutes, they just ran. No looking back. No thinking. When they finally stopped under an awning, both gasping like they'd run a marathon, Anna turned to him, face still streaked with tears and fear, but with that stubborn fire still burning in her eyes. "You're gonna tell me what was in that letter?" she asked, her voice shaky but firm. Louise hesitated, ran a hand through his hair, trying to untangle the chaos in his head. "Anna, it's not an easy conversation, but you deserve the truth, all of it." She crossed her arms, waiting. Louise took a deep breath. I didn't know. Diana never told me, but it looks like you're my daughter." The silence that followed hit harder than any gunshot. Anna just stared at him. Her expression shifted. Confusion to anger, anger to disbelief, then something Louise couldn't even name. "You're kidding me, right?" She let out a sharp, nervous laugh. "This is some messed up joke?" "I wish it was," Louise said, voice low. "But it's not." Anna shook her head, taking 2 steps back. Her breathing picked up again, chest rising and falling fast. "I spent my whole life thinking everyone abandoned me," she said, voice cracking. "And now you show up with this? Like it's just some casual detail?" Louise stepped closer, hands up like she was a wild animal about to bolt. "I'm not leaving, Anna. I swear. I'm staying. This time, I stay." Anna looked at him, her eyes burning with anger and pain. For a second, Louise thought she might scream, hit him, maybe both. But instead, she broke down. The tears came fast and hard, shoulders shaking, hands covering her face. Louise didn't hesitate. He pulled her into a hug, tight, protective, feeling every sob, every tremor. This time, she didn't fight it. She let herself stay there, just for that moment. But the peace didn't last. Anna's phone, dead for hours, buzzed inside her backpack. A single notification lit up the cracked screen. One new video. Sender, unknown number. Louise and Anna exchanged a terrified glance. Without a word, he grabbed the phone and hit play. The shaky footage showed Lydia, smiling, holding a small black box. In the corner of the screen, a short caption. "If you think you know everything, you're dead wrong." The video cut out. Louise felt the blood drain from his face. Anna lifted her gaze to him, eyes wide with a silent question. And without thinking, they bolted. Running again. This time, not just to survive, but to find the whole truth. Before it was too late. Louise pulled Anna by the hand, weaving through dark alleys, dodging trash bins and potholes like their lives depended on it. And maybe they did. Anna's legs wobbled under her, her breathing fast and shallow. But she didn't let go. Not this time. They finally stopped behind an old auto shop. Louise pressed his back against the brick wall, chest rising and falling like he'd just sprinted 10 miles. Anna collapsed next to him, hugging her knees, eyes still wet. For a few seconds, neither of them said a word. Just the distant sounds of the city, a car alarm somewhere, dogs barking, muffled conversations from a bar across the street. Louise wiped sweat from his forehead, then glanced at her. "Hey, look at me," he said, voice low but steady. Anna hesitated, then lifted her head. Her cheeks were stained with tears, dirt smudged across her face, but her eyes, God, her eyes, still burned with something fierce underneath all that fear. "I meant what I said back there," Louise continued, barely above a whisper. "I'm not leaving you, no matter what." Anna blinked like she wasn't sure if she heard him right. "Why? Why now?" Louise let out a shaky laugh, running a hand through his hair. "Because I should have been here a long time ago. And because you're not alone anymore. Not in this, not in anything." She looked at him for a long second, like she was fighting the urge to believe him. Then, Anna reached out, almost like in slow motion, and grabbed the front of his shirt. Her fingers curled into the fabric. "You better not be lying," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I'm not," he said, without even blinking. For the first time, she leaned her head against his shoulder. It wasn't some big, dramatic hug, just a small, tired surrender. But for Louise, it meant everything. The moment didn't last. From across the street, a sharp whistle cut through the air. Both of them jumped. Louise peered over the edge of the wall. A man stood near the bar entrance, phone to his ear, staring straight at them. "Shit," Louise muttered. "He's on the phone, probably calling them." Anna sat up straight. "What do we do?" Louise pulled the envelope from his jacket, the one the stranger had handed him. "We find out what's in this first, then we move." He tore it open with shaky hands. Inside, a single flash drive. Anna frowned. "You have a laptop?" Louise shook his head. "No, but I know where we can find one." Before she could ask, he pulled her up. "Come on, There's an internet cafe 2 blocks from here, open late, no questions asked. As they ran, Anna held tight to his hand. The streetlights blurred past them. Her heart pounded, but not just from fear now. There was something else building inside her, something that tasted like hope. But deep in the back of her mind, one question wouldn't let her go. What the hell was on that flash drive? And why did she feel like whatever it showed could change everything? And as they disappeared down the next block, the man near the bar lowered his phone, smiling to himself. "Got him," he said before walking back inside. Luis's heart raced as he pushed the door open to the internet cafe, dragging Anna right behind him. The smell of cheap coffee and overheated electronics filled the air. A couple of teenagers played video games in the corner, but no one paid them any attention. Perfect. They found a booth at the back. Luis pulled the flash drive from his pocket, shoved it into the computer's USB port, and clicked. The screen flickered, loading. Then a single video file appeared. Anna sat on the edge of her chair, her hands trembling on her lap. Luis glanced at her, then hit play. The footage was grainy, black and white, clearly from an old security camera. But there was no mistaking the people in the frame. Lydia, standing in Diana's living room, yelling, gesturing wildly. Then, Diana stepping back, raising her hands to protect herself. The sound wasn't great, but the next part didn't need audio. Lydia lunged. A struggle. Then, the gunshot. Anna gasped, covering her mouth with both hands. Luis froze, staring at the screen like it might swallow him whole. Seconds later, the footage showed Lydia dragging Diana's body across the floor, wrapping it in plastic just like Anna had described. It ended with Lydia making a call. The timestamp, minutes after the shot. Luis swallowed hard. This changes everything. Anna didn't speak. She just sat there, staring at the frozen frame, her whole body shaking. Luis pulled out his phone. "We're taking this to the police. Today, right now." Anna's eyes widened. "Are you sure? What if—" Luis cut her off, placing a hand on hers. "I've run enough. I'm not afraid anymore. Not for me. Not for you." For a second, she just stared at him, like she didn't know whether to scream or cry. Then, she squeezed his hand back. Tight. They left the cafe and headed straight to the nearest police station. It took hours, statements, forms, watching the video again and again with detectives. But this time, Anna didn't hide. She sat by Luis's side, her voice steady, her story clear. When it was over, as they stepped out onto the sidewalk, the air felt different. Lighter. The sun had started to rise, painting the sky with soft pink and orange streaks. Anna turned to him. "So, what now?" Luis smiled, for real this time. "Now? We start over?" Anna gave a small, tired laugh. "Together?" "Together," Luis said, pulling her into a hug. She held on to him like she never wanted to let go. And for the first time in what felt like forever, she didn't feel alone. But as they walked away, neither of them noticed the black sedan parked across the street. Inside, a new face watched them through dark sunglasses, already dialing a number. The story wasn't over. Not yet. Stop everything. If you've made it this far, you need to subscribe right now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comment section with your reactions and your theories about this ending. Share this video with at least 5 friends who absolutely need to know how this ends. You gotta do it now. You must subscribe immediately. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait another second to share it. Only true fans know how. Crucial it is to support the channel with these actions. Let's go.